to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you're moving into living life truly on your own terms. Really want to give a special shout out to our Patreon family. Thank you so much for supporting us on this spiritual journey. We do share a lot more information on there, so definitely consider joining for as little as $2 a month. Thanks to every single person that has also started, has kind of contacted us and has become part of our Karibu Nyumbani family, which is basically means welcome home in Kiswahili. A lot of our brothers and sisters, some who left from Africa maybe a decade or so ago, some who left hundreds of years ago, are starting their journey home at such a time as this, and we are just so honored to be part of your relocation journey. You can find all the links below. Beloveds, it's very important to be aware that in a not too distant future, let me put it like that, it could be a year, it could be a year and a half, it could be 2 years, they will shut down what we know as the internet, because they intended it for one thing, but it has of course been used for so much good on many other levels. And we can see that a lot of the revolutionary movements have actually been triggered, even made larger, by the internet, by social media. And we can see already with censorship, like a friend of mine was telling me that he was taken off WhatsApp for sending a controversial message about the pandemic to a group that he was a member of. So a lot of people have been taken off various social media platforms because they were trying to share the truth. And now we can see that there's so much, it's still not helping. The truth is still getting out there. More and more people are awakening daily. It's amazing that many truthers who left wonderful nuggets are being discovered at such a time as this. And even though the reason they created this internet, because if you look deeply, beloveds, I think the internet was created by like the CIA or the FBI, something like that. It was a military op. And it is a massive global psyop. And the whole idea was to bring us onto this global matrix or patrix that they controlled. It wasn't so much about being us physically online, but, where your body goes, your mind will follow. And so by getting all of us on these phones, it's funny how they were even saying, many people in, the insulting things they say, many people in Africa don't have clean water, but they have a mobile phone. But, and, not to be, whatever, to my people, but that was basically the idea, to get every single person online. And if you went online physically, your mind, because it's like a magnet, your mind would be pulled into the matrix and your energy would be used to create it. But they didn't foresee all the truthers and alternative voices, and the fact that, many of the messiahs and chosen ones would use those platforms to put their energy onto the matrix and change things and disrupt things, which is what we've been seeing. Because, beloveds, if you look very closely, things are not going according to plan. They always try and make it seem like they're larger than life. They're more powerful than life. That's why it's all about drama and acting. You always act like they're the ones who invented this whole acting thing. This larger than life characters. But things are not going as smoothly as they anticipated. They did anticipate, of course, worst case scenarios, some of the rebellions that we're seeing across Europe, as they're the first ones to be really subjugated to the global police state. But things are going differently. More and more people are coming online and tapping into their power. And the minute, beloveds, you tap into your spiritual power and you have control of your mind, you reel your mind in, and you are determined that you will survive these times, everything starts falling into place. The minute you make that your focus, what you give your attention grows. and becomes the center of your life. And many people now are doing that. They're pulling their energy and power back from the matrix, but we're sharing so much about what is going on, how to be prepared. And there is definitely what many would call a quote unquote remnant out there. The preppers, the truthers, the ones who are, still sharing those higher codes, those higher, that higher knowledge that will just open our minds up to higher possibilities. All of that is happening. And so we must be aware, beloveds, that sooner or later they will shut down the internet. And the reason I share this is because there are things that you need to be doing today to make sure that you get all the knowledge, all the information, all the books that you can, so that, when it goes, you have all the necessary information. So I shared on Patreon this preppers kind of library where they talk about the different tools to get, how to prep, how to make a fire, all the things that we used to know, what kind of plants to forage in the forest, etc., etc. These are good things to have, and not only on your computer, because they're also talking about, the electric grid is going to become more and more precarious. So if you don't have your own energy supply somehow, either through solar panels, that's what we use mostly in Africa, or other means, it's going to become, you shouldn't rely 100% on the electric grid. And so you shouldn't have everything on your computers. But this is a good time, beloveds, to kind of prepare yourselves for the possibility that the internet would go down. And there's many ways you can prepare yourselves. I'm going to get into that right after this.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Seraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I'm talking today about how they will eventually shut down the internet. The war is raging on the spiritual and mental planes, beloveds, and on the emotional plane. It's like a whole cleanup is trickling down from the heavenlies, and just wiping away all that dense, negative, toxic energy as it flows down into our reality. So much is happening. And so, and a lot is being in terms of humanity. Because as I said in a previous episode, I'm not sure if it's posted here yet, but, the messiahs are not here for I and I. They're here for Mama Earth. They're here for the restoration of, of our reality, of our mental architecture, and of this wonderful plane or planet or whatever they want to call it. But they're not here to rescue people individually. See, humanity has to do that for themselves. We have to do that for themselves. And the process is rescuing our individual minds and then also contributing to the liberation of the global mind. And so much is happening on the level of the contribution to the liberation of the global mind. So many people are sharing their truths and contacting people that other people wouldn't be able to reach. And it's reaching a tipping point. That tipping point is coming. And when that tipping point is reached where enough people are awake, they're going to try and shut down the information sources in order to try and stop or delay the process. So, and it won't work, but there will be a disconnection period before another web comes up. And maybe now there'll be regional webs, because there's enough technology in Africa for us to build our own internet. There's enough technology in different parts of the world for them to do the same. And as the world goes into these tumultuous times, that will probably be the direction that we take. But there will be an offline season, and it's important for us to prepare for that, because so much of our lives are online that if they were to shut down the internet tomorrow, many people would not be prepared. The first thing to do, beloveds, is make sure that you have all your contacts, especially the international contacts, the people who, the revolutionary souls out there that you have come into contact with, that the groups on there, the Facebook groups, etc., etc. It's a good idea to print out everybody's email or contact list and everybody's mobile number, and just have that in a file. Do the same for your professional contacts, especially if you want to relocate somewhere. Be aware that, of course, the currency is going to crash, so jobs won't be that important. But the networks, any networks we've built, whether they're professional, whether they're, just, family, new family, soul family, make sure that you get those contacts in a book somewhere. Your old friends who you've reconnected with, just make dedicate time to getting everyone on some kind of contact list. If there's leaders out there who you've been following their message and you just feel that when things pop off, they're gonna move into some kind of, move into position, the hidden generals that are amongst us. Make sure you get their contacts, their emails, like the PLO Lumumbas among us, and et cetera, and have that information on you so that whenever you can communicate again, you can always try and, reach out, et cetera, because I really do feel like it's to the internet. They may try and shut it down. No, then they are going to shut it down, but something will come eventually. Secondly, that's if the contacts were able to come back online, et cetera. Although as I think about this deeper, it may also just be, that may be the end for that portal. I mean, if you have someone's email and it's Gmail, and anyway, I'm not going to get too into that. It's important to get people's contacts, even people's addresses, if you're meaning to move to Babylon one day, et cetera. Just the contacts that you feel led to get. Secondly, all the books. There's so many books, because we're now in the age of truth. We are now in the information age. There's so many books, files, documentaries, videos that have so much information on them, beloveds, and really start to create your own library. I've shared this before, PDF Drive. I think it's pdfdrive.com or pdfdrive.net. You can see it here. They have all the books, beloveds, from all the recipes in the world to what medicinal plants are to, all kinds of books. Let me just say that. And it's very important to mechanical books, architectural books, how you can build things, like useful things, how you can purify water, different kind of manuals that you need to get, beloveds. Download all that information for the future community that you may be part of, or even just for your family. Make sure that you're creating that library, and first get it in soft copy, but start printing those things out and putting them, in boxes in your own little library. Create even maybe a technical center, because there's so much information out there, even how to make a car, non-renewable energy car. There's so much information out there, beloveds. You just have to dig. One of the ones, and if you have any other links that would be useful to people, please leave them down below. But I think it's absolutely critical that you start to gather all the necessary information that you would need, and also, because now they're wiping the same slate clean, we're literally going to like a 0 point so that they can try and rescript reality. Make sure that you have the important information to share with your children, and your future generations about the craziness of this time, beloveds. So, and make sure that you're getting the accurate history book so that you can even return back to the reality of things and our ancient texts. There's great books by authors. There's Amos Wilson. He wrote this amazing book called Black Power. Absolutely a must-have in your library. There's also Credo Mutua. He wrote a lot of books on seers, etc. There's a lot of our brothers and sisters that have written about ancient Egypt, how, and our ancestors. Those are the kind of things you want in your library, beloveds. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. They will shut down the internet. So, before we took the second break, I was talking about how you need to get all the information that you can, that will help you even in educating your children, whether you have children now or you're planning to have children now. Download curriculums, download formulas. All of that information is available. But because Babylon has produced everything for us, we haven't found it important to know how to make your your own soap. Download that. How to, how to create a greenhouse. Download as much of that and start to create a library, beloveds. Dedicate some time every day. If you have teenage children at home who don't have much to do, you could get them to, you could give them this as a project. And it's not really even a one-person thing, because there's so much we need to know. Even for us mothers out there and us women, we need to know how to heal our children, the basics of how to heal our children with plants, etc., etc. The medicinal properties of different trees, as I mentioned before. So those are the things we should be downloading, because they're there, and this is stuff that has been externalized from us. But as we move into the tumultuous times ahead, beloveds, it's really going to be a kind of community-based reality. So it's very important. It's very important to get the contacts of everyone you need, any information that has proved valuable. The books, so many books are online right now. Make sure that you're, downloading your copy so that you have it for the future. But even more than that, beloveds, is you need to download your life off the web. And literally, you need to continuously, beloveds, wean yourself off this, because the internet, the World Wide Web, it has been a web that has consumed us literally. World Wide Web, all of us are in a web, and it's addictive. It's extremely addictive. And so you have to start, don't wait for the internet to go down to not need it anymore, because your body will literally go into shock. So much of our attention, our time, is spent there. Even our free time, is spent on the World Wide Web. So we have to start developing. It's funny because I've started reading books again, and when I started, I'd fall asleep after like 3 pages, and I realized like my mind, the internet had literally even oriented my mind in a different way. It became hard to do that, or just, to cook without having some kind of tablet or something in front of me, giving me news, giving me information. We have to remove ourselves more and more from the web, beloveds. And that means start spending the majority of your time without it. Have dedicated times. Like that's what I've done right now. If you have any tips, please leave them down below. Like I'm online in the morning and in the evening, which is even too much. It's going to go down to 1 day, once a day. And then it will literally go down to 1 day, because now I'm farming, I'm doing other things. So I don't have all the time and attention to give it to that. So it's very important. Don't have, whenever you have an idle moment, the first thing you're doing is turning to your tab to see what so-and-so is saying. Because you see, that's one of the things, they made us so global, where all of a sudden my spirit can be shattered by what has happened on the other side of the world, or can be made to feel some type of way and take energy from me, when really it's all about the now. And that's why people live so outside of themselves, because they're living thinking too far ahead, too far behind, too far out there about about what's going on in Germany, what singer did this, people you would never even have encountered in your life, beloveds, and not on that way, are now taking so much energy from you. So we have to withdraw ourselves and our energy from the media, from even the social networks that we've created. Take those that are valuable, but just continuously disconnect, beloveds. Continuously spend less and less time online, and find ways to fill the gaps of that time that you have spent online. And more importantly, beloveds, we must wean our children off it, because so many have put TVs and tablets and all these things in front of our children that if that wasn't there tomorrow, we wouldn't even know what to do with our children. So it's so important, beloveds, to get back to the way we grew up. Planting things, gardening, playing outside. If you have an outside, the luxury of an outside, get them to be reading more books instead of being on their tablets, playing more games. So these are things that you can do. Stock up on those board games. Stock up on, or learn how to create them yourself. Remember how we used to play snakes and ladders and all these things? Probably some occultic meaning to them, but and cards and Uno and all this stuff. It was so fun. And even just going outside and making things and, playing in the rain and mud and everything in nature. What a beauty it is to grow up in Zion, beloveds. But really wean your children off it as well by giving them alternatives before they shut down the internet. Because probably if they shut it down, you won't want to be on it when they bring it back up. And who knows, it might even reach a time where in order to participate in it, you have to have, or something like that. So we just need to, leaving Babylon means leaving the system entirely. And the entire world has been made to make us addicted and dependent on the system for all our needs. And we have to take that power back. Stay uplifted. A little moth just came out my nose. Stay uplifted, beloveds. Tu kopa moja.